Hello, everybody. Hello, 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 hello. What a humble beginning. Can see several people already online. It is 12:01, and we're not really going to. We're not going to waste any time. I promise that we're going to try and keep it under 2 hours. And again, it's as good as you make it, really. Yeah, so it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful time. I'm going to give a shout out to those who are already online. I can see Josie. I can see Kunle. Oh, yeah, Kunle. Oh, yeah, okay. I'm adding the yeah. Yeah, Kunle is online. He's asked the first question. I can see Nora, my, you know what, my one and only. Yeah, Zachary from Singapore is online representing his family. Okay, so please put your questions in the comments, the same way you've been sending hellos to those who are online. I want you to send in your questions. We have a question already, and it'll be nice to start with that, but I'll just wait for you to continue to add your questions. No, you're not going to be keeping quiet. Everybody must say something. Okay, I can see Soge. Soge is online. Yes, Soge is online, and I'm sure she's going to be asking some questions. Okay, so welcome to the platform, Team Slayer. Yeah, you got it there very quickly, Kule. Good. Okay. People are still dropping in, so I'm going to give it a few more minutes, but we certainly have comments, and I am going to want to kick off. Okay. So look at the screen, because what I'll do is, as the questions are coming in through YouTube comments or chat, whatever it is, I'll pull it into the broadcast so that everybody can see. Tomu, I can see you. Thank you for your support. Let's see. Okay. All right, let's quickly go to the first question. And I think it's something that I believe everybody gets to see when you visit some websites. I'll just add the question so you can see it. So Kunle has asked, when you go on a new website and it asks you to accept or deny all cookies, is there a way to set a default privacy setting that applies to all websites I click on automatically? And it's an interesting question, and yes, I know that you want, not just you, we would want one question that fits all. Unfortunately, Kunle, you really can't do that. And that's just because most websites have their own personalized privacy settings around cookies and all that. And that's basically down to the EU GDPR regulations. So because each website has its own, it will be hard for you to have a default answer for each question, because ultimately you've got to read the privacy settings. That's what websites will encourage you to do. They want you to go through it, and at the end, you say accept or you say okay. They want you to do something as a call to action. And unfortunately, if you had a default setting, because I'm guessing that you just don't like the nuisance of it always coming up. So you can't have a default answer for adapted questions per website, if you get my meaning. So it will not be the way to go, because they want you to read it. And I will encourage you, the clinic will encourage you to read it. It's painful, but read it so that you know what your rights are. Privacy is a big thing, and we certainly don't want you to go to sites and they're going to do stuff that you're not aware of. So we would encourage you, the clinic will encourage you to take the pains and patience to answer each question when it comes up. So you visit a new website, just click OK, accept, if that's what you want to do, because you're supposed to read it. When you read it, if you're satisfied, OK or accept and move on. And that's quite crucial, very crucial that you do that. So don't ignore it. And that's now to others, because generally people just want it to go away because you're visiting the site for something else. Look and read those that important information. It's very crucial before you move on to visit the site, because they're telling you stuff that they will do with your data. They're telling you stuff that is important for you to know. If you just accept it, you don't know what you're accepting if you don't read it. Okay, the fine print. All right, that's a long answer for a very good first question. Okay, I hope that has helped. And I hope that has answered your question, Kunle. Okay. All right. The next question, I'm going to add it to the broadcast so that you guys can see. It says, and this is Naija, very nice name, Naija Beauty. Hi, Uncle. I have a question. How do you fight against VPN or XVPN? It's becoming, stay on. It's becoming what? It's becoming I'm guessing that was supposed to be rampant with the young people we work with. Okay. I now get the question. Very important question. Everyone knows that the channel was designed to help parents, to feed parents, to encourage parents to grasp this knowledge so that you can cater for the technological or the internet needs of your children. That's the premise of this channel. And so the reason why that question is quite important is our young ones who are tech savvy are finding ways to beat the system. Like if you, for example, if you have parental control set up in your home, you generally are protecting your children. But in protecting them, they are not allowed to go to several things that you don't want them to, or several places you don't want them to go to. And what tends to happen is they install a VPN that bypasses many of the rules or the barriers that you've set up. And honestly, as it's coming, I'm saying it straight away, that needs a one-on-one talk with your child or your children. Really, there's no way to paint it. The communication here is key. You have to sit down and discuss the way forward. The important thing is that you've noted that there's a VPN that they have installed to help them bypass the rules or the restrictions you've placed. If they're finding ways around it, then there's a problem. And that problem is not going to be sorted by another application or other software. You have to have a one-on-one talk with the child or with children. Vitally important. Okay, we've shared some videos on this already, so make sure you go to the channel and engage the content. Okay, I hope that answers your question. Yes, so that was from Tone. Thank you, Tone. Okay, is there another one? Okay, this is another question. This is a question from Zachary. How can we make sure that the information that we feed into websites, our passwords and our PIN numbers, are secure and not open to hackers? Very, very important question. Thanks, Zachary. Now, and I think it's linked to the question that Kunle asked, the very first question about privacy settings. Vital, absolutely vital question in our time. Now, most websites or most vendors, the promissory notes, if you like, that they give us as consumers of their content or as visitors. It's all in the privacy settings. So if you have a site that is, where you're doing stuff like exchanging data, card data, your pins and all that, those are all stored either via the cloud or indeed sometimes locally on your own system. But whatever it is, they would mention it in the privacy settings and all the other settings that they are getting you to say okay to or to accept. That's why it's vital to read it. And most sites, at least those that I know, would always state that your data is going to be secure. And they tell you what mitigating factors or what tools they have in place to make that happen. But if you don't read the privacy settings, if you don't read it, you don't know what they're going to do. And that's why it's vital that we don't just skim through that information. Read it and gain the confidence that the vendor is going to take care of your data. Unfortunately, that's all they will tell you they're going to do with your data. If your data gets compromised after you've read the privacy settings and signed it or said accept to go forward, then that's a different story. But at least you have backup that they have told you that they're going to safeguard your data. And that's just the world we're in. It's internet. Yes, but the privacy settings is vital, or rather are vital, and I want you to make sure you read them. You do the same also on fine print. The small print thing that we always talk about. It's crucial that we do so. Okay? All right. Good question, Zachary. Very good question. Let's see. All right. So we've answered that. Come on, guys. Put your questions in. It's vital that you send those questions in so that we can answer. And we need to engage. We've got two or three beautiful questions so far. Okay. All right, Kule. Good stuff. Let's see. There's a question, another question from Kunle. Browsers and security. We have Chrome, Firefox, Safari. Which do you recommend from a safety perspective, and very importantly, speed, especially with their limited hardware capacity? Now that's a very good question, Kunle. Now there's Chrome. I notice you've not put Internet Explorer. There's Mozilla, Firefox, and there's obviously the Apple offering, which is Safari. Now, it will be unwise for me as a member of the clinic to recommend a browser type. But I do know the ones that have bloated, bits that make it a bit less or more latent. So Chrome by design, which is Google's offering, Google Chrome is very lightweight. I know that early on things were not quite as they are now, but they've gotten better. The security on Google Chrome has gotten better. Whilst I was really in the enterprise, I know that generally Google Chrome and any other flavor of browsing software were not encouraged. It was always Internet Explorer. Mozilla, Firefox at the time was known to be quite buggy, but equally it was also the best that developers or software techies preferred because it allowed them tunnel into code and all that stuff. So it will be based on your setting. I know that members of the platform are quite lightweight users. I would say Google Chrome or Internet Explorer, and then if you're on Apple, Safari. Those are okay. There's nothing that I've picked up from those three I've mentioned. So I've mentioned Google Chrome, I've mentioned Internet Explorer, which is Microsoft, and Apple Safari. Those are ones that I use, and they have regular updates. So bugs are fixed on a schedule. And so a vendor who is able to provide mitigations for holes that have been discovered, those are the ones I will gravitate towards. Okay, so it's vital that you get that. So Safari is okay for Apple users, Google Chrome okay for Apple and Windows users, and then you have the Internet Explorer, or as they call it, Microsoft Edge. Those are also good for Microsoft. They are what they are. If they're very heavy-handed, it's because of the security that they need to place on them so that you're able to browse safely. So those three. I hope that's addressed your question, Kunle. But I don't have anything against Mozilla, but it's more designed for the enterprise or for geeks. Forgive my choice of word. But people who are really, really techie, they're the ones who gain a lot from using Mozilla. There's Opera. You know, those are all flavors, Internet Explorer or Internet Browser software. But the ones I've recommended are the ones I've recommended. I hope that answers your question, Kunle. Okay. Thank you, Kunle. Zachary has asked another question. I'll put it on the broadcast. It says, how can we construct strong passwords? Obviously, you can tell the difference when you compare to password, but in terms of choosing a password, how do we ensure the utmost security? Again, I don't know. You guys are asking very good questions, and it's good. I hope those who are online are picking up these questions. Vital. Some of them are addressed already in some of the videos, but it's good that we're talking. Okay? So Zachary has asked, how do we construct passwords? Obviously, you can tell the difference when you compare two passwords. But in terms of choosing a password, how do we ensure the utmost security? Vital question. Now, in those days, not too long ago, when we were setting passwords, welcome 123, your birth date, memorable date, and all that. Those passwords are too weak. They're simple. And as we've done in the videos, I say, please go onto the videos, the website, or rather the channel, and get that content consumed. We must create complex passwords. And one very easy way, don't look for things that are easily guessable. You know, your birth date or your place of birth. Don't do that. You know, now we're really encouraging wordy passwords. You know, if it means it's a statement you're going to make. I came to land, _ exclamation mark, exclamation mark. That sounds bizarre, but it's only you that know it. Do you understand? So if there's something peculiar to you that others don't know, you know, you set it, but to make it complex, you put characters. So you put exclamation mark, open bracket, close bracket, you know. Now, after you've set it, don't now just add 1 after 27 days, 2, another 27 days, 1, 2, 3. No, the reason is if the password has been compromised in any way, then you've given the rogue an opportunity to know how you operate. So mix it up. So it has to be complex. Put upper cases, lower cases, put numbers, and put characters. But it must be complex. And as I've said in the video, you must change it periodically. I know many were not quite happy with the 37-day recommendation, or 42 days, I think, recommendation. But that's what it takes to stay secure. It's vital that we do that. So brilliant, absolutely brilliant question, Zachary, and I hope I've addressed it. Okay. We have Henry at Tigogo. Tigogo, welcome, and thank you again for all the support. Your question, how do we control bad games and software from being installed by our children? If you don't want to know what came straight into my head, we're big on age appropriateness in the clinic. Absolutely so. Age appropriate content, age appropriate games. In fact, just last week, or maybe last week, just the last video, we shared information on online gaming, for example, and we talked about appropriateness based on age. So first and foremost, how are they consuming these games? Are they doing it via console? Are they doing it via their phone or smartphone? And I hope if they're underage, they're doing it on your phone. So how are you downloading it? Or are they doing it via a PC, laptop, or tablet? So those are crucial questions that will help address it. So I'll give you a general answer. Ideally, bad games should not be installed on any devices that your children are using, and you do that by making sure that the games are downloaded from approved or official vendors. Now, I've also encouraged via the videos that we've shared that because gaming can be so addictive, we need to get involved in what they're doing. And I think where parents are missing it is the fact that we're taking our eyes off the ball because we're busy, and we're just letting them be because we feel, okay, they will be out of our space. And because we're taking our eyes off the ball, that's when they're exposed to do a lot of things. And so it's vital that we get involved. You know, I admire parents who actually sit down with their young ones to play games. I don't have that. I joked and said the ship sailed when it came to gaming on my part. But the fact that I'm not doing it doesn't mean I won't recommend it. So I'm recommending that you engage with your children. So if you're the bill payer, for example, on the smartphone you've chosen to give your child, then make sure that you get involved. Install some of the applications we've already said or mentioned on the channel. The parental control software, if they're underage, you have to install it. And make sure that only games that you've installed are the games that they're going to play. Over time, they'll get tired of one game and they want another. Gives you an opportunity to go and investigate the game before you install it. It's the same with movies. We've said on the channel and the videos that you must go and watch movies before your children get to watch it, so that you can give them informed advice. So it's no different here. The bad software that gets installed would mean that you are loosely policing your child's gear, and you must cease to do that. Get involved. Install those parental control software, especially if they're underage. So it's age appropriateness that we're homing in on. Make sure that if they have a smartphone, that boundaries, I mentioned digital boundaries, are set. So they're not playing games all the time, because if they do, obviously they want to play more and more and more, and that's where they get all those bad things coming in. And you must get to know who they play with if they're playing online games too, because most of the ideas of new games come as they interact with their friends. Encourage them to always come and ask before they install. If they're installing it on the family computer, you also have total jurisdiction over that, and make sure that that computer is hardened, as we keep saying on the channel. So bad games are only coming if you've taken your eyes off the ball. You must get involved in what they do. They'll fight it because possibly you've arrived on the scene too late, but with dialogue, you can get them to agree boundaries, get them to agree the reasons why they must not be downloading rogue software onto the phones that you are the bill payer. It just doesn't make any sense. But Tigogo, very, very good question. Okay? Thank you. Okay, more questions are coming in now. So maybe I'll reduce the answers because we'll be here forever. So we can move to, we'll cover all the questions. I hope that's answered your question, Tigogo. Joanna, bless you. Wow. Jonah, it's good to see you online, and thanks for your support, continued support. Joanna asked, and I'll put this so you can see. She asked, how can parents and adults in a child's life address cyberbullying, especially if it's on a platform that a child accesses regularly, e.g., social media? Beautiful question. I am going because we released a video on cyberbullying a little while ago, and it is an excellent video. So Joanna, so that I'm not duplicating the information, I will get you to go to the channel and look for the cyberbullying. I always find it difficult pronouncing that word. The cyberbullying video. It is packed with information that will be beneficial, and it will certainly address that question. Okay? Beautiful question. Cyberbullying remains a big issue. Many think it's not a big problem because it's online. It is worse so. So I will advise those who are equally interested in the information about cyberbullying, they should watch that video. Crucial. I would say before we finish allowing this, rather before we finish the live Q&A, if I get the link, I'll put the link in the comments so that you pick that up and run with it. Now, if anyone beats me to it, so someone can, please also put it in the link, so it's not only me doing this stuff, okay? All right. So beautiful question, Joanna. Thank you. You've asked another one. It says, how can we teach kids to identify signs of hacking, potential hacking, if someone hacks a friend's account on social media and is engaging with us and our kids? We're back to the same thing. I have covered this, and we're busy, but please be busy watching those videos. I've covered this. Rogues are masquerades. I've said that any place you have a lot of foot traffic, anywhere where you have people, aggregating or gathering online, you have rogues there masquerading. So it's going to be difficult to tell who is a good guy and who is a bad guy. That's why some of the tips that I've shared in videos about hackers, videos about sexting, videos about cyberbullying, all those, I've given you steps or tips that will help address that. The telltale signs that will give you confidence that something untoward is happening to your account. You understand? And I've listed them so that I'm not repeating it. I would rather drive you to the videos because it will help. Okay? Good stuff. Watch the videos, please. Okay? And I found out also that perhaps some of the reasons why we are not getting too many people on the platform by way of subscription and all that is because some of you are not watching the videos and you're also not liking the videos. So the way YouTube works, if you like the videos that you're watching and you watch the videos, then YouTube will direct people to your content. So our content, which is designed primarily for the members of the platform, but ultimately for everybody who is connected or is a parent, we want them to benefit so that they're not tricked or scammed unnecessarily. So please like the videos. You can do that whilst you're online also. Like the videos. If you've not subscribed, please subscribe and share this information with your families. If they are not online now, I want you to ping them to join. We still have a while to go. All right? Okay. I said I was going to answer a question shortly. I've just missed that again. Okay. So, Joanna, I hope those two questions help. Please drive carefully and quickly to the platform and consume the content. There's a lot of content on hacking and a lot of content on cyberbullying. All right. Zachary has asked another question. Do you recommend saving your passwords on your browser all your devices, can they be easily compromised? Yes. The advice I will give, and that's, I think, if I'm linking the question with questions that have already been asked, especially the one on privacy settings. For convenience, many browsers give you the opportunity to save your password information or your card information encrypted. Keyword encryption. Safari does that, I know for sure. And I know that Microsoft Edge also does that. Internet Explorer and Google are also the others. And that's why I recommended them, because I've used them and I know they ask those questions. Now you find that as part of the security that they give, they would encrypt your information. Now, best practice would say, and I'm talking to you as a home user, I will say no. That's you siding on the, taking the cautious route. Don't save your password information. That's my recommendation to you. Don't save it. Just remember it. Type it in. It's an effort, but it's an effort that helps you. Okay? Because if your system is compromised, you'll find that the information can be accessed and all that. Encryption should give us confidence that the data, if it's been taken from your computer, will be useless to the rogue. But these rogues are growing in their own knowledge, so it is hard to tell. I do know that 256-bit encryption methods are used, and that means it will take a hacker a long time to crack your password information or the password to get into your information. So it is secure. The Google, Chrome, Microsoft Edge, Safari offerings are secure. I know that it's either 256-bit or more encryption. So it is secure, which means many people, at least the common rogue or hacker, will not be able to crack the password if they get their hands on that information. But I'm saying, to avoid all that noise, do not save password information on your computer. That is my recommendation. But what those three browsers offer are safe. They are very safe. So you sort of have a choice. If you're going to save them with the browsers I've mentioned. But I'd rather you don't save them at all if you can help it. On your local system, you don't save it at all if you can help it. Just remember it. Type it in every time you need it. Don't remember the password, and don't save it on your local system. That avoids all the noise that can happen if your system is compromised. But I can also assure you that you would not have rogues. You have to be a pretty good rogue to crack those passwords. So they're safe, those three browsers. All the other browsers that exist, I can't vouch for them. The only browsers that I will mention that are good and that will safeguard your password information will be Safari, Microsoft Edge, and to a large extent, Google Chrome. Okay? Zachary, I hope that answers your question. Let's see. More questions coming in. A lot of youths. Okay, let me add this. Edward, hi, and thanks for your support. Edward has asked, a lot of youths are using social media daily now, and social media plays a part in communication now, but often don't discuss it with their parents. Find it difficult to do so. How can we approach this? Edward, it's simple. Talk to your parents. The funny thing is, most parents on the platform don't know what to do because they're intimidated by your knowledge. I say your knowledge because you're younger than we are, the parents. So, and you're an adult, obviously. So, they're going in to most of these arenas, social media arenas, without knowledge. So as parents, we don't know enough to engage them, and that is why the site or the channel was built to make sure that we can equip parents to take the children on, not to engage them in a way to get them off social media, but no, to get involved, understand what they're doing. If you understand what they're doing, then you find that some of the things you're worrying about, you need not worry about at all. Social media is a tool, but it's only negative if you as the parent has taken your eye off the ball, or we have taken our eyes off the ball. We get engaged. And with dialogue, with discussions, boundaries, we still talk about digital boundaries, will be established. So, Edward, your question, the answer I will give you is communication, dialogue, engage them, engage your parents. Let it not just be parents engaging children. Let the children engage parents so that we have a common ground. There's no point being lovey-dovey with your parents when it comes to all non-social media stuff. And then when the social media comes online or on the table, there's a divide. No, it's all in. Everything you do as a parent and a child, okay? All in. I hope that helps. Okay? Yes, I know it does help. Okay. Janet, welcome. Oh, I didn't know you had problems trying to get in. Those of you who are there, please make sure you're liking this. Remember what I said about the YouTube dynamics. The more we like what we do, the more this is recommended. And the standpoint is that we are getting this information not just to those on the platform, but to others. So please, 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 get this information out. Like this video, like this Q&A that we're doing, so that YouTube will pass this on to others. We want the content to bless others, right? Let's do this. Like the video. Hey, now people are liking it. Good stuff. Please make sure you like the video or the live show. Okay, we'll go to the next question. Let's see. Thank you, Joanna, again. Thank you, Biola. Thank you for your support. Someone has asked a question, how to be religious. Well, I don't know how I'm going to answer that question. We'll probably take that offline. I'll ping you directly, how to be religious. It's pretty vague, but religious, how? Yeah, vague question. Please ask, make it clear. If you clarify your question, by all means we'll answer it, but it's not clear. Valerie from Singapore. Dungi, thank you for your support. Dungi has asked a question. I'll put it on the chat or the broadcast. This question is from, Valerie, Singapore. Can our children have healthy and safe social media accounts, e.g. to explore educational training opportunities or access Christian youth networks? Good question. Now, social media by design is a community that is a huge mix. So you don't have it particularly addressing church folk or believers or stuff that Christians endorse or stuff that other people of faith endorse. So social media is what I tend to say the marketplace. So it's a lot of stuff happening. So ideally, you don't go into social media and you cut off totally from the noise, things you don't want your young ones to be exposed to. However, you do have groups within the social media platforms that are quite clearly targeting a particular persuasion. So but you have to sign in. You have to sign in onto social media before you have access to those groups. You can't access a group without registering or signing up to a platform like Facebook, Instagram, etc. So we come back to the same premise, apart from the videos that I've shared, but today we've said it already. Dialogue. Communicating with the young ones, agreeing those boundaries, very crucial. If you agree those boundaries, then you have something to work with. The idea is to make it not seem addictive. Because what seems to happen is once they're in, especially for those who've been prevented from getting access to it, once they're in, they lose their way if you've not had that discussion with them. So sit them down, discuss with them. Once you discuss with them, you find it very easy to release them because you have a healthy relationship with them. I generally say that if you have a wall, that a digital wall created between you and your young ones, a disaster is waiting to happen. So yes, we understand that access to these platforms must be age appropriate. Once they've come to that age, don't forget that all that time you've been building discussions, you've been having those talks with them. So when they finally engage on these platforms, they do exactly what they already know to do. Okay? So they're not going to be let loose. They're going in there informed. So it's important. And you find that once they register, they have an agenda already. They're only interested in things that meet their standards. They're trained. We must allow them go, trust them to make the right decisions, and that trust has to be there. If we don't release them to go in, then it becomes very difficult. So I'll encourage an appropriate age. That's first and foremost. Have those long discussions. Have those boundaries set. And of course, boundaries are what they are. Once the boundaries have been broken or whatever, there have to be repercussions. Ideally, I hope it does not involve breaking the phone. But ideally, those boundaries will help the young one in the long run. Okay? Well, Dungi, I hope that's answered your question. Sade, welcome and thank you for your support. How would you suggest I put it on so you can see what I'm seeing? How would you suggest gradually giving your child space as they grow when it comes to parental constraints? Yeah, this is a tough one. A good question, but a tough one. You know, somehow I think our young ones don't know that parents are human beings. Really, we're human beings, and it's not very easy to let go. And so you can encourage the young one, whoever it is, the young ones can encourage the parents to engage. You understand? Trust comes via dialogue. I can't trust you if we don't communicate and I know what's going on. So we can't be so hands off and expect that relationship to be okay. So the same way the parent has spiritual control or jurisdiction over the young one, similarly the young one has to make that job easy. Do you understand? The sacrifices have to be made from both parties. If a parent wants to keep their child, then there has to be healthy communication. There has to be healthy communication. So if we engage with our children and our children know that we're not, too proud to engage them at whatever level, then they gravitate towards us. And that's young men and young women, children alike. So it's vital that communication is healthy. And those things you're calling parental constraints need not happen because there's a healthy communication between both parties. So communication, I would say, Sade, would be key there. Constraints are there for protection, barriers, boundaries that we set as parents. We're not doing it because we hate you or we don't love you. We do it because we love you. But we'll do it intelligently if you get engaged. It's not when we speak high, you speak high. Someone has to back off or back down so that communication balances. If we're doing all the shouting, at some point we'll realize we are shouting and we'll come back to your level. But ultimately, we need to engage. If we engage and have a healthy communicating relationship, God is good. Okay? All right. I hope that's answered your question, Sade. Henry has asked another question. Thank you, Kike, for your support. Is any lock needed on your laptop apart from name and password? Especially if it gets, let me put this so you can see it. Is any lock needed on your laptop apart from your name and password, especially if it gets stolen? What are extra measures to take? Good question, Henry. In fact, I'm hoping to share a video on this, but I've already addressed this on a video. I talked about, at least I hinted in one of the videos that we have to encrypt the hard drives on our laptops. Encryption, I don't know whether you now remember. I talked about encryption. Encrypting our hard drives, so the drives that you have on your system. Unfortunately, because the encryption software, especially for Microsoft Windows, which is called BitLocker, I hope that's ringing a bell now because that video was released. BitLocker is only available on some flavors of the operating system, the Windows 10 operating system. So by default, if you have Windows 10 Professional and above, it comes with the BitLocker encryption software. And that allows you to encrypt your hard drive. And if you encrypt your hard drive and store the recovery information in a safe location, if your laptop gets stolen, lost or stolen, the data on that hard drive is useless to anyone without the decryption key. So you need a decryption key to access an encrypted hard drive. I hope that helps. So apart from your username and passwords, which we insist have to be complex, you also have the added advantage of encrypting the hard drive on your laptop. That prevents access from these rogues if your laptop gets stolen or lost. Henry, that should answer your question, but watch the encryption video. That should also help you. Okay? Those are the extra measures you should take. Again, thank you, Zachary. Thank you, Janet, my ama. Okay. All right. Kike is asking. I'll put it again so you can see. Where is it? Kike has asked. I note that even with PG-rated movies, there can be some inappropriate content. Is there a filter to find wholesome videos for young kids, especially as I don't have the time? Kike, make the time. Please make the time. In fact, if you don't make the time, don't allow them watch the movie. That's our advice. Make the time. And I say this from a place of experience because, believe me, I wish I had done more. Thankfully, our young ones have turned out okay, but it would have been nice to get more involved. Watch the movie before they watch it. The standards of the world would never match your standards. So where the world believes that a 15 A movie will be okay for a 15-year-old, what are they using as parameters to make that judgment call? You know your children more than they do. They're doing it based on stats. But we all have different tolerances. And so the only way, first, straight out of the door, you will not have, you don't have tools that will give you, well, certainly secular tools that will give you this information. You may have conservative vendors, we don't know of any, who have taken the time to watch these movies, and they will base it on the standards that you might identify with that will get you somewhere close. But ultimately, you are the one who makes that call. So please, if you can't make the time, don't let them watch the movie. When you have watched the movie, consumed the content, made your judgment call, then you can tell them if they can watch it or not. Of course, that's for children who are under your cover. But once they get to a certain age, you can only give, or you can only be, advise and all that. But children who are in the category, the age category that we're focusing on, at least in the context of your question, you must make the time. Okay? I hope that helps. Okay, so let's see. And I hope that's answered your question, Kike. Thank you. Go and watch the movie. All movies. All right, I have, it says Saeed Munva. Welcome. We haven't, I'm guessing you are visiting for the first time. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Saeed has asked, thanks much for all these educational sessions. They're very informative and helpful. A session on common scams and how to recognize and avoid them will be really helpful. Thank you for giving me my next series, Saeed. My next series. I have mentioned a few of them. So far, I think we have 52 or 53 videos in there in the mix. When we started the channel, as you know, with these things, they're all work in progress. When I started, I sandwiched all the information in videos, long videos. So you'll find that if you're the type that watches movies for the first 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and you go away, you miss that content. That's not your fault. I have to grow to make sure that I get the content also to capture or get you within those first 2 minutes. So I'm learning. So Saeed, brilliant question. I'll add that to the agenda for the next videos that we'll be releasing. Common scams and how to recognize them. I've given you a lot of tips. Within the video portal right now. You'll get a lot of information. It's tips. Best practice. That's what we've been doing. So it's all in there. Take time and make sure you watch those videos. And as you watch them, make sure that you like them. Okay? Thank you very much, Saeed. Brilliant question. Okay. Zachary, thank you for your feedback. Shade, thank you again for your feedback. Kike, thank you. Come on, guys. More questions. Let me see if I've missed any. I'm just looking through. Let's see. Okay, Shade has asked another question. Oh, no, same question. Sorry, Shade. Come on, guys, ask your questions. Are we drying out? Are we tired already? We can't be, okay? We can't be tired. Come on. Ask questions. Whilst I wait for more questions, I do tell those who are visiting. Some of you generally don't subscribe because you think there's a payment that someone will be taking money off you if you subscribe. That couldn't be further from the truth. No money exchanges hands from you anyway. If you subscribe to a channel, it is totally free. You just have to get an account, and that account, an email account with Google or whatever it is you're logging on with. Once you log on, then you find that you're able to subscribe and get alerted when new content is uploaded. Vital that you subscribe. More vital that you like the videos when you watch them. Okay? All right. I've got another question. Thanks for rescuing me, Kule. All right. Kule has asked a question. It says, What do you think is more appropriate? Banning your kid from a video game platform entirely or allowing supervised play? Again, because we've asked, we've the answer to the question is simple in my view, based on what I've already said. Um, the knee-jerk reaction is the wrong reaction. So if you ban your child after boundaries have been broken, then it's counterproductive. We need to go back to the discussion table. Need to go back. Of course, there will be repercussions. Digital starvation, but not all right banning. That never works, because then you have anger brewing, you have all that stuff, and that doesn't help the relationship. So you always have to look for common ground with your young one. Our job is to bring them in, not lose them. Okay? So you lose them when you push them away, break phones, smash things. That's not what we will recommend. Engaging, dialogue. This is what you did this time. Not good, not brilliant, not clever. Let's go back to the drawing table. Where did you miss it? The same way you will appraise a project. Our children are a God-given project for life, not for Christmas, as I've said in a few videos. So we need to do this, okay? Meet them halfway. And Kunle is justifying why he's asked the question. Banning might create a need for the child to sneak around. Absolutely. Absolutely, Kunle. You couldn't have said it better. So that's vital. The dialogue, as I've said in some of the videos, the dialogue we have with our young ones, when we have that dialogue with them, we're training them how to work in the house and when they leave. As I said, you in your own house can have very huge digital boundaries in your home. But you have your son or daughter befriending another young one whose parents don't have any digital boundaries at all. Which house do you think the child will love to go to? Would the child love to go to a house where the digital boundaries are similar to yours, or digital boundaries in another house are non-existent? Kids are inquisitive. They want to excite themselves. So obviously they will gravitate towards where those boundaries are lower or non-existent. But if you sit them down and train them, dialogue with them, you don't have to be in the house of the parent who has no digital boundaries to understand what your child would do, because you've trained them. The child would easily stand up and walk away if they're in a house where content they're not allowed to see is shown. And some may think this is all wishful thinking. We can train our children, by the special grace of God, train them to the state where they would be independent. That's ultimately what we want them to do. They become independent and they handle themselves very well when they're away from your home. Okay? Beautiful question. Beautiful question, Kunle. Okay, Zachary has asked another question. He's asked, what are the safe search engines that our children can use to be protected from inappropriate content? Again, I've answered this question. Let me see. The joy of technology. I'm going to try and see if I can share content from the site. Let's see. Do bear with me. Very good question. So I'm hoping. Where are we? I need to try. Okay, let's see. All right, I'm trying to answer Valerie's question because it's a very important question. But to do that, I need to do this. Okay, let's see. Please behave. Sorry, I think this streaming stopped for a while there. Just like I feared. All right, so Valerie will have to take my word for it. Valerie, you're going to have to take my word for it. If you go to the site, I hope you can still hear me. If you go to the site, you'll find two videos. There's one video on Google Safe Search, and there's also YouTube restricted mode. These were two important features that I said, as you know, Google on YouTube. Yeah, it's that way. So they have these two crucial features: Google Safe Search and YouTube restricted mode. These are things or features that once enabled will prevent inappropriate content being returned when you do a search. And I know that many parents allow their children to use Google to do their homework and all that, but unfortunately they're not aware that you have that feature. If you enable that feature, which I must tell you is not 100%, but 99% is huge to have when our kids are doing homework on them on their own. The likelihood that comments, rogue comments or inappropriate comments are returned, or inappropriate content is returned when you do those searches, it's enough, to get that enabled. So enable YouTube restricted mode for all your YouTube content searching, and also for Google. If you enable it, you'll find that only appropriate content will be sent, especially illicit content will be prevented from being shown in that search or in those search results. So it's important to enable those. Those are the two that I know that are quite useful. I won't be surprised if Yahoo and all those other vendors or players in this space have similar things to help prevent the same. But I only know of those two, hence the reason why I'm flagging them. So YouTube restricted mode and Google Safe Search. They're the two that I know that will help when you are releasing your children on the internet to do homework. Okay? That is definitely, I must say that if you enable it, it also does prevent some information from coming in, because you may not know that some of where the content comes from, the people who are publishing these things have content. They're answering the question, but they have content attached to that answer that is not appropriate. So you won't get that answer because it doesn't pass Google's threshold. And so it will block some content. So it's encouraging people to publish appropriate answers on the web so that we can trust it. That's why I said it's not 100%, but it's close. Okay? I hope that helps you. Anti-donge. Okay, let's see. So, then quite a lot of questions now. Let's see. So I've answered Valerie's question, I hope. Valerie, give me a thumbs up if that answered your question. Please, if you're just coming in, please like this live Q&A. We want the information to be captured by YouTube and sent out to others to consume. This is good content, even if I say so. Okay. Adiola has asked, at what age can I put it on so you can see? At what age? Can you see that? I think you can. At what age can you start to educate your young children about internet safety? Today. Start today. Start today. Yeah, of course, if the child is a baby, that's a no-brainer. You, as the parent, know when they're ready. There's some discussions that you find that only the parent knows, and that's why we must not allow, I've said it before, that we shouldn't allow the internet, we shouldn't allow the government to train our children. We have a God-given responsibility over these young ones. So you would know when the right time is. Good question, but simple answer. The moment you know, you start teaching them. But whilst you're waiting for them to get to that age, you arm yourself with information like the information we're sharing now, or the information we've uploaded in the past. So train yourself. Train yourself with the content that will help you train them properly, or at least put them, send them on the right path. Vital. Start when you know it's ready. Don't wait. Now, that seemed careless because you may not think they're ready at all, even up to 20. And that's not what I'm saying. Don't wait till they're 20. Start early is what I'm saying. Very early. You understand? The moment they can understand how to read and write, put it on the agenda. Bite-sized forms of internet training. Just give them bite-sized forms. Ultimately, you will gradually get there. Okay? But you have to put in the work so that it will be a mature training, if you like. I hope that answered your question. Yeah, so that was Adiola. Josephine says, thank you. Juanita. Juanita has asked the question. Juanita again from Singapore. How can we be sure? I'll put it on the... How can we be sure that the internet restrictions being put in place by our parents are good for us? Especially when our friends tell us otherwise. Beautiful question. The question I'll ask you, Juanita, is do you trust your parents? If you do, you've got your answer. Okay? If you don't, then there's a problem. So if your parents can do every other thing right, and you feel for some reason their attitude towards social media is wrong, then there's a problem. So trust is key. If you trust mom and dad, then you know that everything they're doing for your sake, and it's with the backdrop of love. Now, the only way you can get them to come to that place where you feel there's a balance is engaging them. As I said, some of our parents may not be tech savvy. So bring them to a level. Don't force feed them because you put them off. Gradually get them to understand your world, or the world you think you want to be a part of. In wisdom, they will advise you, and then gradually they're learning some things, the techie stuff and all that. And ultimately they would, give you the advice required. The fact that they're not tech savvy does not mean that they don't have the tools to train you. The only difference will be they will be training you with the tools they have and the spiritual guidance that comes with that. But you can gradually expose them to these platforms and get them to a place where they feel comfortable to expose you, to some of those things that you feel you want to be a part of. Now, if your friends, and I'll put your question back on, if your friends are telling you otherwise, I'll have a problem. First, what's the context of what language are your friends speaking? Do they have the same standards? Because you could have friends who, and I don't like using the word friends too loosely. I rather call them acquaintances. But you could have those acquaintances who don't have the standards that you have, who will obviously tell you otherwise. But if you have similar parents who have similar values, and they still have an issue with some of the things your parents are saying, then I see a room, I see a platform for family discussions. Ultimately, we want the best for you. So we'll do everything that's required to make that happen. Okay? But you can't go to another person's house. The person has objections to the way you are rolling, and you feel that they have a point, because that will suggest that you don't trust what your parents are doing. So ultimately, I'm saying in a very long-winded way, engage your parents. Get them to be at your level. Well, not really at your level, but get them to have some knowledge about your interests, and how this can marry or can be blended into the overall overview you have on the life you want to lead. And the moment you get to have those discussions, you will not win or get your discussions across the way you want it. That's a better way to present that. But ultimately, you're getting them to you're feeding them with some information. And parents, whether you want to believe it or not, I know you do, we're wise. And we want the very best for you. So I hope that answers your question, Juanita. And thank you, because that's a very candid and deep, I know it's from the heart. So the fact that you've asked the question means you want clarity, and I hope that's giving you the clarity. Trust mom and dad. Okay? Good stuff. Where are we? Edward has asked, should parents give children space online, or should there be constant involvement with their online presence? Edward, I'll just put it so people can see it. I think we've covered this. A child having space, the space you're talking about is independence online. It's not a privilege. Actually, no, it's a privilege. It's not a gimme. It's a privilege, but it's a privilege that has come from constant dialogue with the child. Okay? So the parents will give the child space online if it's been merited. And we're talking about age, so we have age appropriateness as our canopy. Age appropriate, you're at an age where you should and you can use the internet. Once you've gotten to that level, then the parent need not micromanage what the child does, because there's already a relationship. There's already engagement. So you're engaging the child. So if you're engaging the child already, or children, then the independence will come naturally, because you think about it. If you're teaching a child how to shop from a store, a local store, you take that child on 3 or 4 journeys. Some parents will do more, but after a while, you want them to go on their own, and they can only gain. They've gained your trust because whilst they were with you while you were doing it, they were behaving. Do you understand? So if you engage your children and you're getting in their space and they welcome it and it's decent, then you gradually as a parent will get to the place where you have built up enough confidence to release them. So there'll be no need to micromanage the child online. So we'll give the space when it's merited, but the space has to be given. I hope that helps, Edward, helps answer your question. So yes, you give them space, but it has to be merited. And that merit comes from engagement, and where both parent and child are giving to the discussion. We promote transparency, so the child is transparent, is announcing things they're struggling with, and the parents will share wisdom on how that can be catered for, and things like that. But generally, independence will come once the parent has gained enough confidence based on constant dialogue. Thank you, Edward. Good question. All right. Kike is asking a question. let me put it here because I think this affects many parents. Kike, thank you. I've not even read the question, but I perceive it's good. You're saying when you activated this restricted mode on Google, your son was unable to access school recommended sites for homework, even though the content was harmless. Did you do something wrong? You didn't. I think I mentioned that one of the issues, and I did tell you that it was not 100%, 99% it is. The issue has always been that in a view to prevent the inappropriate content from coming through, the word that I'm going to use, I don't pronounce it well, so I try to avoid it. I think it's algorithm. That thing that YouTube uses is very granular. So it will feed out or weed out the slightest stuff that is considered inappropriate. So if a vendor or the people who are publishing the content that you're ultimately pulling back has not presented the information correctly, maybe they've failed a particular guideline in their presentation, that content won't come in because it's fallen below Google standards or YouTube standards. And that's why it may not come back and it gets blocked. But if it's blocked for a reason. It's blocked for a reason. Now, as far as you're concerned, your child is safe. But it will now mean that you would have to, on another computer, do the same search under your own jurisdiction, consume that content, and release that content to your son. I know that it seems quite laborious and very, off. But honestly, anything you can do to keep your kid or your children safe, it's worth the time. I say that it's worth the time investment. But that's the only way. That's the reason why it gets blocked. It's because the vendor on their website has not presented the information in the way Google's guidelines align. And that's why it's being blocked. So you didn't do anything wrong. It's just the way it is. It's in the 0.1 or 0.001% of sites that are blocked because the information is not quite right for your child. And it's good. And I think Google Safe Search have a portal that allows you to report what you think was inappropriately blocked. And that way, the system they use gets trained. It's like AI. It gets trained in the future to allow that content. So as if many people send the same information about content that has been incorrectly weeded out from the searches, then Google are mandated to research it, tweak their algorithm. I know I've done damage to it again, and then allow it possibly in the future. I hope that's answered your question. Okay, so you didn't do anything wrong. All right. Shade has asked a question. I'll put it on. Says, what do you advise parents to do when children are out of their sight? When they're at school or with friends, for example, especially with how advanced technology is today? Yeah, and it's crucial. Very good question. You now have tools, and I think, again, sorry, Shade, I have released several videos that will help direct you on this. We're talking about parents and children, so I'm guessing you're referring to children who are underage. And so for those who are on the site or the live Q&A today, the underage people we're looking at are under 16. Okay? So they're under 16. If you're above 16, there's a different dynamic, parent-child dynamic that we recommend. But if you're underage and you're under 15, under 16, yeah, just said that, then this answer should help. So if you haven't watched the video, we've talked about several offerings, Custodio. I haven't shared on it for quite a while, so Custodio have a very good app. We've shared when we did our series on mobile app recommendations. I think I mentioned another app that it will help do a good job in tracing your children's whereabouts. It's by nature, these things are invasive, so they find out exactly where you are, what you're doing. Well, not what you're doing, but where you are and all that. But the premise is protection. Knowing where your child is at any point in time is not supposed to be used to monitor what they're doing. Is to know where they are. That's what the app is designed to do. It does allow you to do those other things, but that's not, we don't want to be a part of that. We're just recommending, if you need to know where your child is at any point in time, watch the videos on the platform. Again, for those who have visited the live Q&A, once this is all done, I'll put links to the videos that will answer some of the questions I've not been able to. There are videos, but like I mentioned, the longer videos have them in there. And I've recommended them in the clinic news. That's where we always put that information when we were recommending mobile apps. It's in there. And I'll fetch it out and send the link to you, Shade, since you've asked the question. And I'll put it on the comments also for this particular video so that those who attended will be able to do the same. Okay. Yeah. We have a few minutes to go. This has been quite useful. I'm almost tempted. I think I hinted friends of mine that this, depending on how this breaks out, this might just be the way to go with this platform. A lot shorter, I should say, but we'll get to do and answer questions live. You know, if it just means, let's say we put 30 minutes as our live show. Going forward, in those 30 minutes, if we can answer 2 questions real time, so I'll be on my phone or I'll be on the web and I'll search for the information you're after, and we engage that way. But it's useful, quite useful. No more questions, guys. Keep asking. I know some of you have had to go because of stuff. But those who are still on the platform, and I can't tell, I can only tell if you send in questions. Okay. Come on, guys. Where are you? Where are your questions? Please remember to like this live Q&A. Subscribe to the channel if you've not already subscribed. It does help me a lot. And by help me, I mean building my influence, or the clinic's influence online, can only happen if we are seen to be doing something good. Okay? Very, very. So I have 12 people who are still online. Any question, guys? Any question? Any question? I'm just looking to see that I've not missed anything. Beautiful questions, really. I'm so thankful for how candid you guys are. Just going through questions, make sure I've answered all. I mean, the time that we're in, generally, I feel that our kids are gravitating more and more to the internet, and that's enough for us to really get our act together as parents. We need to make sure that we are feeding ourselves. I mentioned in one of the videos that it's important that we we consume content, improve ourselves, go on webinars. I don't know whether you guys can hear me, but at times I wonder where we live. This is the UK, and there was a power cut. I'm not kidding. I wish I could make this up. This is alarming. There was a power cut. I actually thought there was stuff that I had done here that was incorrect, but honestly, power cut. How do you legislate for that? Anyway, I was gonna. I thought it was gonna be a longer time, but it came, and the application I use allowed me resume. So I hope we still have you online. Oh, we only have 4 people. Okay, maybe they're coming on. I did say 2 hours, so I'll love to make sure it remains so, because there's some people who may still want to join. So please bring those questions still on. Bring them on. I hope you've had a good time. Yeah, I can see that there's still more people joining. Okay. So apologies for the break. I feel like transmission power cuts. Apple ID. Hello. Okay. Not quite sure. Okay. So we have more people join. Not quite sure who that is. Okay. So please keep sending the questions. Keep liking this video or the Q&A. Power cut. Yes, sir. All right. So come on. Oh, you want some music? Let's do some music. Yeah, Still waiting for your questions. Come on. Let's do some music. Okay. Still waiting. Yeah. Okay. Okay, Jonah has asked a very key question, so maybe I should just go. Let's see. Jonah, you've asked a very good question. Very, very good question. And I know that I generally open myself up for advice like that. Please have them reach out to me. I know what hurdles I've had to climb to get myself here. Now, as you would know, Joanna, I think we've shared this together. Um, I generally believe that we're prepped up for things like this long before we have to actually start doing them. We've got to be open to helping others, sometimes we've taken our video camera just to go and cover a birthday event and things like that. When you're doing that, you're skilling up. Because most of the skills that I've gained through things like that and many more has helped me tremendously in setting up the YouTube channel. And incidentally, the YouTube channel would be a year on the 2nd of June. And that's in a week or so's time. I don't know. Now that I'm thinking about it, we'll probably have to celebrate in some way. Yeah, the 2nd of June, this platform will be a year old. And if you look at the number of videos, like I promised at the launch, we have shared 53 videos so far every week. And we have 52 weeks in a year. So we've been pretty consistent. And I think the 53rd video would be the reason why it's 50, not 52. It's going to be 53 or 54. It's because we shared 2 videos, the one for subscription and the one for the premiere. So that's why it's going to be 54 when we celebrate. But ultimately, we've released a video each week, and that's no easy feat. So thank you so much for all your support. These things will not happen unless you were online with me and supporting. And we can do even better in the next year to come. So at the year celebration, the 1 year celebration, I'll probably mention some things that we're going to be doing going forward. But please, Joanna, send those guys, whoever it is, to me. And I'll share tips that are helping me even as I speak. On how to do this. I said we'll do the live Q&A thing a long time ago, but it's not easy. Finally, it shouldn't take me a year to learn this, but of course, with other things I'm doing, once I was certain that it was something I can do, and I always like giving my best. Anything you do it excellently. I hope that the content on this platform matches those comments. I strive to make sure that you have the best. The research is done meticulously. I can't mislead you, and I make sure that the content is appropriate for you. And where it's required, I want you to ask questions. So, Joanna, please send them my way. The advice I will give is don't put it off. If you have an urge, because it has to be fueled by an urge, an inner urge to do this, and you have something to give back. I believe that IT has been very good to me. Most of my IT life, I've done it in the enterprise. And I've felt led to now give back to homes, to families, and to young ones. And I'm hoping I'm making a difference. So if what you're about to do will make a difference, don't just create a channel for the sake of it. Now I'm giving you advice, okay? This is advice. Whoever it is, just don't create the channel because other people are creating channels. You have to sit down and understand that this is not just for 1 week. I've just told you now that we're going to be celebrating 1 year next week, and I'm nowhere near where the clinic is nowhere near where it needs to be, but we're putting in the work. So this is not something that you start and stop. Once you decide that you have something to give and give consistently, then that's the time. And that's where I can come in. I can give you advice on how to do it, what to focus on. There's a lot of information already, but I save you going to search for it. Just send them my way. I hope that helps, okay? Very good question. Very good question. Send them my way. Okay. We have 20 minutes to go. I'm not even going to attempt, because one of the things I wanted to do with the with the application I'm using is to browse through the 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 YouTube channel itself, but for some reason it's not behaving. I'll try one more time. So if that, not quite sure why it keeps doing that, but we'll see. Every time I've done that, it's tried to take me away. Let's see. YouTube. Thank you so much for that very touchy feedback, Joanna. Yes, something to give and give consistently. Absolutely. Of course, it also doesn't negate the fact that if you have something to give and you have a strategy to just give it for 30 days, for 1 month, for 2 months, 6 months, as long as you stick to that, then that's fine. But typically, by design, when people create channels, they create channels because there's something they want to give. But you have to determine at the very onset that you're not going to let go after a little while. Okay. But thank you. Very useful feedback. Just going to the channel to see. Yeah, I just want to show you the channel. I'm hoping that I can do that while we are online. And I also hope I can do that. So I think it's this. Hey, finally. Okay. So I've worked out how how to do it. I hope I'm not going to jinx it. I see. I have. You can see me. Yes, you can. It just doesn't like full screen. So I'll leave it at that. But this is the channel. For those of you online who don't know, this is the YouTube channel. You can see that we have 341 subscribers. Last I checked, it was 340. So we've, by way of this live Q&A, we've added one, but that's not real time, I think. But videos. I'm clicking on the videos so that you can see the videos we have. You can see there's so many videos here. I'll try and read some of them so that you can see. Internet safety for families, that's what the one we're doing now. Playing online games safely. Should you pay a ransom to unlock your computer? Skype phishing attacks. The Saeed, I remember your name. You mentioned that I should share some scam attack scenarios. I have shared a number there, a number of attacks, examples there. I've talked about fleeceware, screen time, Zoom bombing, securing your broadband router, coronavirus phishing scams. That's another one there for Saeed. How to check if you have a virus. I'm addicted to social media. Please help. The rise of cyber flashing. RSA, multi-factor authentication. Important. What computer should you purchase? Shopping online. Do you know what your children are doing on the internet? My computer is running Windows 7. What do I need to do to stay safe? Sharing pictures online. How to stop mobile apps from tracing everywhere we go. What should your, yeah, no, that's a different one. Internet of Things, IoT, WhatsApp, GDPR. The internet does not have a delete key. And that was quite unfortunate that only 31 people viewed this. But in there, it is fully packed with information that will benefit all families. All families. So please consume that content. I seriously, like I would do all the other ones. Consume that content. It has a lot in there. Encrypt your flash drives. We talked about encryption. I've spoken about BitLocker minimally in there. I think it was Tomu who asked the question, or yeah, parents, take responsibility for what films your kids watch. We talk about certification there. It will answer Henry's question about bad games. The impact of piracy on our children, buying movies from unknown stores. Valerie asked a question about Google Safe Search. This video is that. Keep your kids safe by enabling Google Safe Search. You can see very close to it, YouTube restricted mode. 2 videos that I would advise Valerie to look at. Backing up your smartphones. Keep going. Breaking free from phone addiction. When I released this video, this was targeting parents. So this was not advice, it was targeting parents, so we can learn from that. Cyberbullying, that's in there. Advice for parents. Sexting, online pornography. I have another one here. Headphones, earphones, and the damage they're doing to our kids. Phishing, smishing, and vishing, social engineering, contactless card security, social media passwords, public Wi-Fi. I just bought a computer. Where should I place it? Screen time. So there are videos that we've released every week since 2019 that are useful. They'll be seriously useful to you, and I hope that you will consume it. Okay. Good on ya. Okay. All right. So we're coming to the business end of our time together. I have 12 minutes. I still see that we are online. Please send one question that we can use to see ourselves out. It's been a lovely 2 hours, almost 2 hours that I'm spending with you. I am so chuffed that you guys dropped by. I'm here for you. And don't ask how I make the time, where I get the time for. And I think to address Joanna's question, this is not me. I just feel blessed, absolutely blessed to be given this opportunity to engage people in an area that over the years I have harnessed a lot of information and knowledge, and I'm simply giving back. My boys are now quite men in their own right, so this sort of information, still beneficial, may not just be what will tick their boxes necessarily. But I know that many of us are starting afresh, and we have younger children, and those are my targets. That's my target. My target is for parents who have younger children who are in the 7 to 16 age bracket. You know, I want to give. I want to give you enough knowledge to arm you to have the confidence to engage them. That's all. If you're confidently engaging them, they know that they can't just deceive you, you know? And certainly we don't want deceit. We want engagement. Engage, engage, engage. Make time for those young ones so that they would tread carefully on this platform called the internet. Very useful platform. In fact, if you think about it, it's been so useful for church folk, for example. We're able to still communicate using the internet. So if we're whipping the internet and saying, "Oh, you're bad. Internet is bad, bad, bad." Yeah, it has its shortcomings, but it's useful if it's used in the right way. And I hope that we're using it in the right way. We're certainly exposing our kids to use it in the right way. What we can't do is take our eyes off the ball. Okay? Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. So who wants to lead us out? Still not seeing any question. Okay, so for those who are online, by way of feedback, when you go for these programs, they say feedback form. Put, what should you put? Just tell me in the comments if this is a format that you'd prefer to the weekly uploads, or would you just want this to happen ever so often, maybe once a month? So once a month, I come up and make myself available for an hour, and those who join can come and ask any questions. Nothing is off limits. We'll have a topic, a guide, so that we're not asking too general questions. Or would you prefer that we just don't do this, you just continue the video? So we have 3 answers to provide. One, that we do live shows from now on. That's one option. The second, so to answer that question, should we do live shows only? So every week I'll come up and I'll make myself available for an hour. Or should we continue with just uploading content every week, just me talking to a camera? And lastly, should we have a mix? A mix will be, we still do the weekly uploads, but then once a month we have a live Q&A. Okay, so it'll be 3 weeks normal content and then 1 week Q&A. Yeah, I know what I want, but it would be nice to have your feedback. Okay, we have a question. Thank you, Adiola. Thanks for that feedback. God bless you too. All right, Chidima. Chidima, welcome. Welcome to the platform. I'm supposing that you've been keeping quiet whilst you were sitting engaging, but you've asked a question. How do you restrict your kids, what your kids watch on YouTube? General question. We have 7 minutes. Let me see if I can give you a generic answer. Well, to start with, the first and foremost thing to focus on is, are your children internet ready? So age is key. Because if they're in the right age category, then we have very little to worry about, because they can only watch the stuff on the laptop or tablet if they are allowed to. Okay, so that's first and foremost, age appropriateness. The second will be, let's assume that they're okay, they're savvy, they know what to do. And if they know what to do, then my advice is to enable YouTube restricted mode first and foremost. That way, if they're on the computer on their own for any amount of time, unless you allow them, all the videos that they will watch will only be appropriate. And since you've mentioned YouTube, I've released a video. If I've not, I should. But I have mentioned in one of the videos the YouTube Kids app that they should be watching. It is YouTube, but for kids. And you can send them away with that app instead of the adult one or the general one, YouTube. So if you've bought a tablet or you've bought a smartphone for them, then just install YouTube Kids. The content there is, a lot of work has been done to keep that safe. But like I said to one of the visitors today, still consume the content and make sure that you validate it as being safe, because what they're considering safe might not really be safe in your context. So getting involved and watching it is quite key. The more you do that, the better. That's my advice. That's the advice. So get on top of it by only giving them a laptop, or not laptop, a smartphone or a tablet if it's appropriate for their age. Get involved. Make sure you lock down those devices by applying YouTube restricted mode. What that simply means is that you log on and lock down or harden the tablet so that anytime they open YouTube on that laptop, it is always protected. They can only unprotect it if they know your password, so keep your password safe and all that. But ultimately, I would say, based on age, push them towards YouTube Kids, where they can engage on YouTube, but in the context of a kid. Okay, I hope that answers your question. And thank you for, it is a good question. And Shade, thank you. You said you prefer a mix. Yeah, we only have 6 people, so I don't know whether they also agree. But a mix is good. Kule, thank you. It wouldn't have been the same without your support. Thank you for tirelessly, encouraging me. It's not easy to stay. It's not easy to stay focused on stuff that you're freely giving. I think my satisfaction is no one sent me to do this. I had a push, and when you have that drive, that's what fuels the journey. How I've done it for this long, I only give God the glory. Okay. All right. So this is the exit countdown. I'll speak really at the time when it's 60 seconds. But ultimately, please subscribe to the channel. Get your friends and family to subscribe to this channel. I don't take it for granted. There's a lot of heart in this. And I know that I genuinely want the best for you as a parent. It's key that you understand there's no agenda here other than to empower you, to equip you, to prepare for your children as they grow up into the cyber age. There's a lot of nasties, as I often say, that is just not conducive for our children. And whilst we let them, loose on the internet playground, we want them to tread carefully. And so we can be a part of that, of their journey. And so don't lose heart. The knowledge that you need to gain might feel really overwhelming, but again, it's an investment in the lives of our children. So please, I want you to stay the course. Stay with me. Ideas will come, and indeed, send your ideas to me so that I can also work behind the scenes to get these videos to you. I've loved every second of our time together. I hope that in the coming days, weeks, and months that we can continue this journey together. Okay? Make sure you're doing all that. I'm still seeing feedback comments, so thank you very much again, Chidima. But make sure you're doing the right things, okay? Feel free to engage me on email. You'll see it in the description of this video at the end because it will be uploaded. Use comments when videos are released. Use the comments to talk to me. And then when we have live shows, be candid in your questions and just be raw. It's okay to be vulnerable because the answers will help you in your journey. It's good, really good that we've had this. I remain your host, Cyber Pastor Lawrence Edem. Until next week, take care, God bless, and goodbye.